Following the coup that overthrew Niger's democratically elected government, a number of nations have placed sanctions on the country. Travel bans, asset freezes, and funding limitations for coup participants were recently enforced by the European Union. Nigeria and ECOWAS had already implemented their own sanctions. Nigeria had stopped importing Nigerian commodities and had turned off power to Niger and Ivory Coast. In addition, the World Bank stopped funding Niger, the United States stopped providing humanitarian aid, and France stopped working on development initiatives. Niger and the military regime have remained steadfast in the face of these restrictions, demonstrating their capacity to exercise authority in the face of demand from around the world, by retaliating with their own prohibitions and penalties. However, Niger has decided to retaliate by stopping the export of any liquefied petroleum gas, or LGP, as a way of punishing Nigeria and the ECOWAS. And when everyone else concluded that was it, they decided to punish not only Nigeria and the ECOWAS, but all of Europe as a whole to demonstrate their strength. What then has Niger chosen to do? Let's investigate the entire tale. Prior doing that though, would you kindly help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel in order to support our reporting? The Nigerian government declared in October that all exports of cooking gas, or liquefied petroleum gas, would be immediately suspended until further notice. This choice is indicative of Niger's emphasis on putting home production first in order to satisfy its own needs. Authorities made it clear that companies might apply for permission to resume exporting in the event of a surplus. Notably, Niger's main destination for its gas exports is Nigeria, which is a neighbor. An important step forward was made in 2020 when both nations signed a memorandum of understanding for the importation of petroleum products. But the LPG supply to Niger was cut off due to rising tensions and Nigeria's objections. Nigeria is faced with a dilemma because it desperately requires LPG for heating, cooking, and automobiles. In Nigeria, the cost of LPG has increased significantly from 750 Nigerian naira per kilogram to 1,000 naira. Prior to this, the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers issued a warning over possible price hikes brought on by changes in foreign exchange rates and global market activity. Niger intends to use the extra LPG for a range of home activities in reaction to the export ban. The decision to stop LPG exports to Nigeria was made as a result of the President of Nigeria's encouragement of ECOWAS to militarily and politically intervene in Nigeria, raising tensions between the two countries. As part of its strategic reaction, Nigeria took the effort to stop receiving LPG shipments. Nigeria then stopped supplying electricity to Niger. Negatively impact Niger, which gets 70% of its electricity from Nigeria, and put more pressure on the nation's leaders in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. In order to develop a coordinated response, West African military chiefs convened, and a high-ranking group traveled to Nigeria for talks. These happened only a week after the coup that rocked the already unstable country of Niger. The ECOWAS leaders have placed economic and financial sanctions on Niger, giving the coup leaders a one-week ultimatum to return Niger's democratically elected president or pass probable military intervention. But underlining that, the military option is a last resort. The importance of preparation was underlined by ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, Abdul Fattah Musa. To settle the problem, an ECOWAS mission led by former Nigerian head of state Abdul Salam Abubakar held discussions in Niger. As the current chair of ECOWAS and a major military and economic force in West Africa, Nigeria promised to take a strong stand against the rising number of coups occurring in the area. Under junta leadership, Mali and Burkina Faso have issued warnings that any military intervention in their neighboring country will be interpreted as a declaration of war against them since 2020. In reaction to ECOWAS's preparations to put together a backup force, Russia has also issued a stern warning that any military intervention in Niger will lead to a protracted clash. The Russian Foreign Ministry warned that such an invasion would cause instability across the Sahel. ECOWAS has emphasized that all alternatives are on the table, including the deployment of force as a last resort, even if it is still open to diplomatic solutions. This is also the opinion of President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria. The coup leaders have been urged to step down and allow for the restoration of Niger's democratic constitution by the United States, even if the country has not openly endorsed military intervention. Niger has sent a strong message to Europe, marking a new phase in the crisis. Should Europe meddle in Niger's internal affairs? Niger has vowed to block the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, a project essential to Europe's energy security. The goal of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline was to diversify Europe's energy sources and lessen its reliance on Russia for natural gas, which was a major source of concern during the 1970s. A memorandum of agreement was signed in January 2022 by Sonatrach, the national oil and gas firm of Algeria, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, laying the groundwork for the project. In September 2006, a feasibility study verified the pipeline's technical and financial feasibility. Then, on February 20, 2009, NNPC and Sonatrach came to a consensus to move forward with the proposed Memorandum of Understanding, which included agreements for joint ventures and 3 governments. On July 3, 2009, a significant development occurred when the governments of Nigeria, Niger, and Algeria signed an agreement. Niger's location in the center between Algeria and Nigeria made it crucial to this endeavor. The pipeline project as a whole would fail if Niger refused to participate. This case demonstrated the significance that money and politics play in maintaining regional stability, negotiating with other nations, and ensuring the Sahel region has access to sufficient oil. The pipeline would originate in the Wari region of Nigeria, go through Niger, and finish in Hassi R'Mel, Algeria. From there, it would link to further pipelines, such as Gali, Trans-Mediterranean, and Maghreb-Europe gas, which together would transport gas from Algeria's coast to Europe. The pipeline would stretch 4,800 kilometers in total. It would be 1,370 kilometers in Nigeria, 841 km in Niger, and 12,310 km in Algeria. Up to 30 billion cubic meters of natural gas are expected to be moved annually by it, and its pipes would measure 48 to 56 inches in width. Originally, this was how the pipeline project's shares were supposed to be split. Sonager would have 10% and NNPC and Sonatrach would have 90%. Numerous major global corporations expressed interest in participating in the project, including Italy's Eni, France's Total, India's Gale, Russia's Gazprom, and Royal Dutch Shell. But with the military coup in July, the future of the TSGP became questionable. ECOWAS considered sending soldiers to cope with this crisis. The situation became complex due to the involvement of Nigeria, Algeria, Europe, and ECOWAS in the pipeline project. Europe was searching for other energy sources, particularly due to their unsatisfactory energy relations with Russia. They believed that the pipeline would aid in resolving Europe's energy crisis. In the midst of these challenges, experts have emphasized the importance of having civil conversations and mutual understanding. They have made clear that Niger's cooperation is essential to the pipeline's development and that applying pressure to the nation might bring the project to a complete standstill. The situation is further complicated by the presence of Burkina Faso and Mali, which provide support for Niger in the event that ECOWAS becomes engaged. The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline's future is unclear, and all parties concerned will need to work together and exercise cautious diplomacy. The outcome of this large-scale project will determine Nigeria's place in the area, the security of Europe's energy supply, and the stability of the Sahel. What do you think about this? Do you believe that stopping cooking gas exports to Nigeria and threatening to halt the pipeline project are the proper moves? Kindly provide your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for observing. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the channel, as well as to enable alerts so you can be notified when we upload new videos.